President George H.W. Bush, and the Honorable James A. Baker III. President George H.W. Bush and former U.S. Secretary of State James A. Baker have teamed together in service to their country and on the tennis court for many decades. Longtime doubles partners, Bush and Baker were inducted into the Texas Tennis Hall of Fame as a team. In the 1960s, the two became tennis partners at the Houston Country Club, winning the club doubles championships in 1967 and 68. Together, they became members of the Reagan White House. Bush was Reagan's vice president, while Baker was White House Chief of Staff and Secretary of Treasury. When Bush won the presidency, Baker served as his Secretary of State. As teammates in public office, Bush and Baker steadily guided the country through a period of profound international change and helped bring about a peaceful conclusion to the Cold War. President Bush first gained appreciation for tennis during the summers spent with his family in Maine and Connecticut as a youth. Tennis was a family endeavor. Although Bush played baseball for Yale, his interest in the game of tennis never waned. Former Houston Country Club tennis pro Hector Salazar said, "We have a member who loves tennis and is a true fan. That person is George Bush." President George H.W. Bush has been involved with many tennis associations and events from the level of honorary member all the way to chairman, including USPTA, Tennis Across America, and the Bluebonnet Bowl Invitational Tennis. Bush has fervently supported tennis in Texas and across the United States for decades. Secretary Baker's first instructor, Eugene Camrath Gonzalez, said, "When I first gave him lessons in 1937, I knew he was going to be a really fine player. He paid attention and put into practice the physical requirements of footwork and stroke production at every session. He had that internal fire, motivation, and natural athletic ability that is needed to excel." Baker was a top singles player during high school and later captain of his freshman tennis team at Princeton University. Baker won the singles championship at the Houston Country Club 6 out of 7 years between 1958 and 1964. In many of their public appearances, President Bush and Secretary Baker showcased the game of tennis. Whether it was a pro-charity event, a fundraiser for a worthy cause, or by supporting the game by providing a special presence, the Bush-Baker duo did it selflessly because they loved the game of tennis. While both gentlemen were accomplished players, they are being inducted into the Texas Tennis Hall of Fame for their service to the game. Both men encouraged youngsters to play tennis, vigorously supported charitable tennis tournaments, and generously gave of their time to promote tennis for decades. Their ability on the court and their service to Texas tennis makes them exemplary ambassadors of the game. Chris Bovett. In high school, Chris Bovett was a top 10 junior in the 18 and under divisions in both England and Australia. In 1966, Chris attended Pan American College in Edinburgh, Texas, on a tennis scholarship. He transferred in 1968 to the University of Houston and went on to graduate in 1970. During his college years, he compiled an impressive 97-32 singles record. As a pro, Chris continued his success. He won 3 USPTA national titles, competed in 9 Grand Slams, reaching as far as the 3rd round of the 1968 U.S. Open doubles. And in 1984 and 85 was the #1 men's 40 singles player in Texas. He also competed against the world's top 10 players over 21 times during his pro career. Even with all these accolades as a player, his impact as a teacher of the game may have been even more impressive. Chris began his teaching career at the Houston Country Club in 1970 before traveling to Europe to play professionally. On returning to the USA in 1972, he became an assistant professional at the Houston Racquet Club. He then became director of tennis at Sugar Creek Country Club, followed by a move to Quail Valley Tennis Club and the Chris Bovett All-Star Tennis Academy in 1975. From 1986 to 96, he was director of tennis at Westside Tennis Club in Houston, and from 1996 to 2013, he was the director of tennis at Chancellor's Racquet Club in Houston. He's now the director of junior tennis at the Houston Racquet Club. Chris has received many awards for his teaching career. The 1980 Texas Tennis Association Lloyd Session Educational Merit Award. The 1983 Mutual Benefit Life Pro of the Year Award, sponsored by the USPTA, Tennis Week, and Paul Sullivan Sportswear. The 2000 USPTA Texas Division Coach of the Year Award, and the 2001 USPTA National Division Touring Coach of the Year Award. His students have been leading Texas tennis players over the past 42 years. going on to do great things. More than 40 have won Texas Super Championship Junior Grand Slam events. More than 150 have competed at the collegiate level. 24 have played professionally and gained ATP and WTA world rankings, including a world #1 in men's doubles. And they have competed in 37 USTA National Junior Championship finals, winning 25. Chris Bovett has clearly made a huge difference in the Texas tennis community by positively influencing so many Texas tennis players. Susan Shelby Torrance. Susan Shelby Torrance attended King High School in Corpus Christi, where she was the UIL Texas State Singles Champion in 1968. She was also the Texas Sectional Champion in doubles in 1967 and Singles Champion in 1968 for USTA 18 and under. She was ranked #1 in singles in the Texas Section 18 and under in 1968. After graduating high school, she went on to attend the University of Texas, where she was the #1 UT women's varsity tennis player and finished 3rd in the state collegiate tennis championships. At UT, Torrance competed in both badminton and tennis for the first 2 years and was 1971 collegiate badminton champion in singles and doubles. In 1976, Torrance graduated with a Master of Science degree in kinesiology from Lamar University. She then started playing professionally and was ranked #1 for the Women's Open Singles USTA Texas section in 1978 and 80. During the 1980s, she was the USPTA National Hardcourt Singles Champion and was ranked #1 nationally for USPTA. Susan competed on the WITA World Tour in 1973 and from 1980 through 87. She reached the top 100 and played at Wimbledon, the US Open, and the French Open qualifiers. She was the USTA 1985 Women's 35 and over National Clay Court Singles Champion. She was ranked #1 USTA National Women's 35 and over in 1986. In 1988, she was singles runner-up National Senior Women's Hardcourt 35 and over. In 1998, she was ranked #3 nationally in women's 45 and over doubles with her partner Christy Wing. In that same year, she was the doubles runner-up National Senior Women's 45 and over Clay Court and Hardcourt Championships. However, her most meaningful award was not a competitive accomplishment. It was the 2007 Bunny Voster Sportsmanship Award, which was voted on by senior tournament players at the 35, 45, 55 and over National Senior Women's Grass Court Championships. She's currently the Director of Tennis and Contract Manager of Al Cruz Municipal Tennis Center in Corpus Christi. She was awarded the USPTA Facility Manager of the Year for the state of Texas in 2009 and the Corpus Christi Tennis Association Pro of the Year in 2012.